We were together, we broke up, we got back together, we broke up. It was a continuous cycle. Your brain repeats what is familiar, even when familiar hurts. Like that relationship, baby, that hurt. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Perfect Odyssey podcast. This podcast is for founders, entrepreneurs, creatives, and all who know they're capable of so much more. The ones who are done letting fear, scarcity, and self doubt keep them small. Here we have real conversations about identity, confidence, self trust, and what it takes to build a life and a business you truly want. Because growth doesn't start with strategy, it starts with who you believe you are. I'm your host, Amalia Henry. Let's get started. Have you ever caught yourself saying, why does this keep happening to me? Maybe it's the same type of money problems. Maybe it's the same relationship. Maybe it's the same fear that comes up each time you want to take a big step. If you have, this episode is for you. One of the biggest things that's standing in between the life that you want is the same patterns you keep repeating without realizing it. Today's episode is on breaking the pattern or the loop continues. What does entrepreneurship require? Entrepreneurship requires discipline, focus, emotional regulation. It requires making hard decisions over and over again. But what I've realized, most founders, most entrepreneurs, they don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they keep repeating the same patterns over and over again. Different situations, same pattern. And until the pattern changes, the loop will continue. Let me tell you where I first noticed this in my own life. A majority of my university experience, I was in a long-term relationship. Now, when I actually look back on that relationship, I should have left from, month 6. We got back together, we broke up, we got back together, we broke up, and it was just a continuous cycle. It should not have taken me 5 years. It completely ended in 2023. But you know what? You live and you learn. We're here now. Why was it a continuous cycle? I have to ask myself that question now. I don't think I was addicted to the person. I think I was more so just addicted to what was familiar. I realized that I didn't know how to be alone. I was living with my roommate, shout out to Kawena, and I was getting ready to go to a friend's house. She stopped me before I left and she was like, Amalia, I feel like you don't know how to be alone. Around that time, I was going through a breakup, but I did not want to sit in the discomfort. I never wanted to sit in the discomfort. Like, who wants that? Not me. So I was just constantly making plans with other people. Also, looking back, I would definitely say that I did not know who I was outside of the relationship. I didn't know what exactly I liked. I didn't know what exactly I disliked. I didn't have my own goals, my own hobbies. I didn't know what I wanted to do career wise. After I started working my full time job, I realized that, wow, I really don't like working a 9 to 5. I didn't know exactly what it was that I wanted to do with my life, but I knew that it wasn't this. I wanted to travel. I wanted to get to know myself a bit more. I wanted to, just have different experiences, experience different countries, different cultures, just do something different than what I've been doing here in Canada. So that's what I did. Back in 2023, that was the year that I probably stepped foot on a plane about 9 times for the year. I really wanted that experience because it was me doing it more so alone. I was getting to understand myself, and it was then I realized that I really, really liked everything about personal development, everything about leveling up, everything about overcoming these fears, those limitations. Oh my gosh, the limiting beliefs, it will keep you stuck. This was where I began to really work on my self concept and self worth. Really understand that, I'm that girl. Like, what the hell? What the hell? I am that girl. Hello, I don't deserve to be treated badly. Absolutely not. Yeah, that was where I just began to gain all this self awareness and self realizations. It was around the end of year 5 when I just realized that if I keep repeating the same pattern in this relationship, where else would I be repeating a pattern? At that time, I started to know what it was that I wanted, who it was that I wanted to be. Me knowing that this relationship isn't serving me, yet still, I'm still in it. If I keep repeating the same patterns in relationships, where else am I repeating it? And let me tell you where else. I started posting and then I quit posting. I would hide, then I would start again, then I would quit, I would hide, then I would start again. It literally became that pattern. There has been inconsistencies, and that's kind of the reason why I pushing myself to really get these episodes out on a weekly for this podcast, because I have to be consistent in something. Girl, get it together. I have to be consistent in something in order to get to where I want to get to. I have to keep myself accountable. Patterns aren't just emotional, they're also neurological. So your brain repeats what is familiar, even when familiar hurts. Even when familiar hurts, like that relationship, baby, that hurt. But I was going back like I don't have no damn sense. And that's why people stay broke. That's why people stay small. That's why people stay invisible. That's why people stay in jobs that they don't like. That's why people stay in bad relationships. Because familiarity feels safer than growth. Entrepreneurship forces you to become unfamiliar with yourself. It will show you the patterns that you need to break. For me, it has always been about procrastinating since I was in school, since I was in junior high school, university. I always procrastinated, but eventually when I got it done, I feel like it was my best work. But I had no option for it to be my best work because that was the only time I was doing it. So no, I realized that, okay, I have to get my shit together. Actually having a routine, actually having a schedule that, okay, you know what, I'm doing this and this and this on this day, in order to not feel overwhelmed in the long run. You have to develop better habits in order to be successful. Patterns that I had to break when it comes to entrepreneurship. Me saying that I'm not ready, I don't feel ready. I wasn't ready when I first posted my episode for this podcast. Brilliant example. This is my 3rd episode. I wanted to have a hanging tree before I started, but the hanging tree took about 2 weeks to come in. So am I going to wait 2 weeks until the tree comes in? As soon as the mic was set up, as soon as I had, a space to actually film, I was on it because I know that even when I feel the most ready, there's something that I could complain about that will make me feel like I'm not ready. So it keeps me stuck, it keeps me stagnant. So therefore, I'm not ready is no longer in my vocabulary. It doesn't matter. Still take that leap, still take that chance. It will teach you something. And that's how you start to become more confident in yourself. Something else is overthinking. Saying I need to think about it more, spending all this time planning, researching, tweaking. It feels productive because you believe that you're busy, but really and truly, you're avoiding the thing that creates revenue, which is execution. Another thing, perfectionism. As I told you guys, when I dropped my first episode for the podcast, my space wasn't perfect. It's still not perfect. It's still not the exact way I imagine it. But I have what I need to start posting. The consistency cycle. And this is definitely something that I struggle with for sure. The validation cycle. Instead of asking if this is aligned with my goals, you ask, what will people think of me? What if nobody likes it? What if they judge me? You ask 50 million people what they think of one idea instead of just trusting yourself, putting it out there. Another cycle that we tend to go through as founders and entrepreneurs, even creatives, the scarcity cycle. Money gets tight. You have to spend it on, some bill that you weren't expecting. You panic. You panic as if money doesn't always come back. You say yes to opportunities that you don't even align with. You stop investing in yourself because it's too much of a risk. You know that a certain thing would help you to move forward in life, but you don't want to invest in it and yourself because what? You have to save for tomorrow. What if something happens tomorrow? The rainy day. You make decisions from fear instead of strategy. Another one, the comparison cycle. You open your Instagram, you compare yourself to that entrepreneur over there, the way that they made their video, the content that they make. Everyone looks more successful. And now you question your own progress. And instead of creating, you consume. Instead of building, you compare. And the last one that I will talk about in this episode, it is the comfort cycle. You know the exact move that could move you forward in your life, forward in your business. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable. So instead, you stay stagnant. You don't do what needs to be done. You don't reach out to whoever you need to reach out to. You don't send the email. You don't come on camera. You don't record the video. You don't go out there and market yourself. You don't go try to network with other people. You're just sitting there comfortable. But are you really comfortable knowing that you're sitting on your potential? Comfort may feel good today, but the growth will never come. With all of this, it all comes back to your emotions. A lot of times we don't repeat these behaviors just because we want to, not just because it's good. You repeat these behaviors because they protect you from the uncomfortable emotions. Deal with your emotions. Again, I would always tell you to journal. Really dig deep in what's causing all of this. Like, what thoughts come up when you question why it is that you feel a certain type of way when it comes to this and this and that. Go back to episode 2. We really talk about you getting deep in knowing yourself and what's really going on in here. These repeated patterns, they really just keep you stuck in the same outcome that you don't even want to be stuck in. Take the risk. Do what needs to be done. Deal with your emotions. Deal with what is really going on in here. Deal with those limitations. Deal with those fears, the scarcity. So we are abundant beings, and you only experience grand abundance when you actually believe that about yourself. We are all worthy of it. I really hope this episode helped. Thank you again so much for joining me for episode 3 of the Perfect Odyssey podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. I'm your host, Amalia Henry, and I will see you next week.